PaperWork podcast, dopest podcast cooking. What's going on with y'all, man? Jking and N-Sane. We're sitting down today with that woman from For Your Souls podcast.
For the Souls
podcast. For Your Soul.
You know what? It was
For
close
soul.
enough. There we go.
For the souls.
For Your Souls. 4 souls.
Yeah.
It doesn't
For
really
the
matter.
soul.
No, it all makes
It's
it all
a
makes
trippy
sense.
name, though. It's a trippy name, but
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you know, it had to have depth.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's for your soul.
It's for the
Knowledge for the soul.
So that's
you
where
know?
you came up with the name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just thinking one day and I was like, well, what's the whole concept of my podcast, right?
Yeah.
What's the concept of what I'm trying to do? And the concept was I want people to feel it, you know?
Right.
And when you feel something that's real, you feel it in your soul.
Feed
When
the
you
soul.
when you meet someone that's solid, you feel it in your soul. You know what I mean? You feel it in your
That's real
spirit.
shit.
Yeah.
You know, something resonates with you, you feel it in your soul. So I was like, okay, cool. That's where I'm gonna
For
go
the
with that.
Right. So before we get started into your podcast and everything, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I'm 29 years old. I'm from Sacramento. Lived in North Sacramento, moved to Galt for a little bit. That was a little different. Mother of
slower.
4. Yeah, you know what? It was a culture shock.
Yeah.
It was a culture shock for sure because I was like, you know, I'm Mexican. And I went over there and I was like, oh, I'm not this kind of Mexican. Like, I'm
yeah,
a little
ranchers
hood
and shit.
Mexican,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
This is like rancher
It's
Mexican over
ranchers,
here.
It's
Yeah.
not North Sac.
No, definitely not North Sac. Not at all.
North Sac NATO. That's dope.
But I'm a mother of 4. I'm a wife. I believe
y'all
in
been
God. Yes, we have since 17 years old. We've been super busy.
So you believe in God? Are you religious? So you have a religion?
Christianity.
Christian.
Church
Okay.
background?
Yes, Christian church background.
Real fast. You got a college background?
I went to college for a little bit for sociology, but then I got pregnant with my second daughter. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this. I'm just going to be devoted to being at home. But I'm a book fanatic. I love to read.
Oh, you read? Okay.
I read. And I've always, listened, I could get through school, which was fine, you know, like, but if it's a subject I really like to learn, I'm in it.
Yeah, you
I'm
was
in
in
it.
it.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to learn everything about the subject. So it's like my teachers would always get on my ass and they'd be like, Amy, you could be applying so much more effort and you would be doing so much better in school. But I'm the type to question authority. And if I don't like to learn it, then I'm not going to learn it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I find that I've talked to a lot of college people that have a lot of good things to teach me, but there's a lot of textbook things that I feel like the school of life taught
Yeah.
me. And that is just,
Yeah, life
it's
taught you
a
lot,
different
seem
type
like.
of wisdom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because one thing I seen from your podcast, like I started from the beginning, right? And I seen when you were just in your room, right? And you were
Yes.
yelling at your dog and you told me shut the fuck up. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, she a real one. So it wasn't just like you came on, you got a college education, you were like speaking on certain shit,
Yeah.
but the way you talk, it sounds like you're very educated. It
Yeah.
sounds like
Thank
you
you.
have
Yeah.
a master's degree in psychology, right? Because you're very versed on the issues, right?
Yeah.
Especially trauma issues and issues that have to do with like behavior and
Yes.
patterns.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, wow. But to see that you were from like, you know, you had like a hood background, so to
Yeah.
say, like I was like, okay, that's kind of refreshing because it was like, okay, she's speaking to us.
Yeah.
You know, she's speaking to me because that's what, you know what I
depth,
mean? That's
shit.
what
Yeah.
it relates to.
And I think there's a common misconception when people, you know, your outward appearance is the first thing that people perceive, right? So you can't really gauge the level of someone's intelligence on their outward appearance until you start talking to them, you know? So me growing up the way that I was, a little bit more hood, doing the things that I was doing, that was just because that was my environment. That's what I was around. That was what was most familiar to me. But there's a whole intellectual side of me that is like, that I love, you know? And I just, my approach to social media was I'm going to show up as authentically as myself. So one day you might catch me saying the most, you know, crazy big words that you probably haven't heard. And I love to learn new ones. Another day you might hear me talking about how someone pissed me the fuck off and I flashed on somebody. You know what I mean?
Right.
But all of it is authentically who I am. There's just layers to who we are as people. And I decided to start showing more layers of myself, you know, and hoping that it resonates with people, or even showing people that like there's this idea that anybody who lives like us or acts like us or was engaged in certain kind of lifestyles and cultures, that there's a forever degeneracy that sticks with us,
Right.
you know. And the facts are, I've talked to a lot of people that if you were to look at them from the outside, you'd be like, yeah, this motherfucker probably is hella dumb, right? And then you start talking to them and you're like, whoa, you are one of the smartest people I've come across. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just a kind of a homage to like a not everything is what it looks like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There might be some gems amongst the rocks, but you just didn't see
Your
it.
vocabulary game's crazy.
Right. So
Thank you.
Does that contradict your Christianity, like being so hood and being so relatable? Because I mean, like I grew up Catholic, right?
Yeah.
And it was like you don't say certain things, you act a certain way, you don't do this. We have to abide by the Catholic rules and be that good Christian. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But do you see people that judge you a certain way because the way you act or the way your podcast is?
Oh, definitely. I mean, especially on social media, this is what I like to say. I believe balance is a key to life, right? And I think that there's extremists on all sides. You go to anybody of any kind of group or belief or demographic, you're going to have the balanced people, and then you're going to have the extremists, the radicals, the ones that take it a little too far, or too literal. My thing is, with Catholicism, me and my homegirl were just talking about this too, because she just got back into faith and she turned towards Christianity. She was raised Catholic, so everything was very much, you got to look a certain way, talk a certain way, you represent God in this way, which, yes, to an extent, you should be an extension of what God is doing in your life. You should live up to his image, right? Yeah. But what I like about Christianity, it's an emphasis on relationship. Now, are there some extreme Christians that are like, I get shit all the time for cussing. People are like, why you're a woman of God and you're being deceiving with what you're saying because you're cussing. And I'm like, listen, you might have got to the point in your walk where you got the conviction or the calling to stop cussing.
Right.
Listen, right now I might say something very, very important that someone needs to hear, and the Lord put it on my heart to say it in a way that feels most authentic to me. Now, I don't know why, but my guess is because that might be where I'm meeting somebody. That might be just where they're at.
I get that same thing. And people were like, man, I thought you would turn a leaf and, see different thing with the church, did stuff a little better for yourself. You still cuss, you still this, you still run these people. Yeah, but these are my people, and this is who are listening to me. Yeah. They would have never heard what I say to them from anybody else. But it's me, so they're like, bro, why would y'all say
There's that relatability there.
Period.
And there's been times where there's been a struggle, I think, when it comes to Christianity. If you're a habitual sinner of the same sin, then you're choosing that sin, right?
Choice.
But if you're constantly elevating and trying to progress and be better, then you are living for God. You are showing the change in the trajectory in your life through what he is calling you to do, through, your actions and things like that. But honestly, no. I think all the times that I've read the Bible and the parables and how he sat with sinners and prostitutes and the lowest of the low people, and he used them to transform and to live in his image. It's like, oh, what you thought, Saint down the street that does and says everything right? The Bible in itself says, he says in the Bible, people are going to come to me and say, Lord, Lord, and I'm going to say, depart from me, I never knew you. Right. And they're going to be like, but God, I prophesied in your name. I went, I spoke your word, I went and I did this. But God's going to say, I didn't know you because I didn't know your heart. Right. Now, I might be rough around the edges. I might not be your typical Christian and say everything all holy and be the most modest and clean cut,
That'll make you
but God knows my heart.
Yeah.
And because I focus on my relationship with him daily.
I agree with you.
Right. So, I mean, is that what you do? Because you interview a lot of rappers, right? Especially Sacramento rappers and shit. So is that your way of reaching out to the people by spreading the message through the streets?
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't say necessarily the gospel, because my thing has always been, I'm going to show up. I'm going to be as authentic as I can. I'm going to...
You'll be pure.
Yeah, the purpose, right? The idea, the inspiration behind the podcast was specifically testimony.
Really?
Yeah, because that is how people feel each other. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We have a lot of surface level connections in life, but then you start really talking to somebody about what they've lived, and then all of a sudden you're like, damn, I was sexually abused too. Damn, I didn't grow up with a dad too. You start making all these deeper connections, and those deeper connections is what sows that part of ourselves that puts all the barriers meant to divide us down. Yeah. So my idea was, I'm going to start by practicing what I preach and being, transparent with my own testimony. Yeah. Good, bad, ugly, holy, And then my goal is to interview other testimonies. Yeah. Because there's so many different walks of life and there's so many different things that people have lived.
Is that why you started the podcast? Because you said you didn't have nobody teach you this stuff growing up, and you wanted to help people understand it and heal. What do you say? Heal out loud?
Yeah, heal out loud.
That's kind of dope.
Yeah.
I mean, without your push or inspiration even doing it. How long have you guys been up?
We've been up for a year now.
A year?
A year. Cool. And I started off by myself because I was recording at the house and like I had a few friends, but I don't trust nobody coming over so bad. Right. So I did it by myself, and then I started like, okay, I got to get out of my comfort zone. I got to network. I got to see where I can, record at and things like that. And and just normalizing talking about it. You know what I mean?
So, but you got into this for the purpose of maybe it could help.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one thing, like my husband would be like, okay, well, how are we going to turn this into making money? Yeah. And I'd be like, oh, well, my motivation ain't making money. You help me with that because I don't know. Pray on it. If it's God's will.
Right.
No, seriously. And that's literally what I told God. I said, God, if this is what I feel called to do, if I'm meant to do it, you will open the doors meant to be open for me. And the ones that aren't open, then those are the ones that aren't open. Everything's going to be in alignment. So who's meant to feel me is going to feel me.
Close any one I'm supposed to go and open whatever one up. Yeah. And he took music or the podcast, nothing like that from me. Or maybe feel no kind of way about it.
And when you live like that, nothing can make or break you. You know what I mean? Like I'm not relying on people or just avenues that let's say other people would take, because I'm just stepping into my calling, and what comes of it. And if I do make money off of it, great. If I don't, I still feel like I fulfilled the purpose of what I was doing.
I didn't get into this thinking that really make a difference, but I chat a lot. I'm a social butterfly type. I'll be at functions. Hey,
you chat too much sometimes.
I interrupt a lot. But,
you're good.
But that's dope that you got into it to possibly make a difference. That's a calling, actually, like you said. That's big.
So like when I seen your first podcast, right? Going back to the beginning, like how hard was it for you to tell your story, right? Because you've been through a lot of trauma, and you talked about your stepdad, you talked about being sexually assaulted, and you put that out there. Like, how hard was that for you to come out and say that and say that to the world?
Yeah, you know what?
Part of the healing process.
Overall, pretty easy. Really? If I'm being honest, because it was therapeutic. Yeah. I grew up in a household where you couldn't talk about nothing. Right. It was I had to keep everything in, and I internalized so much. And I lived how much keeping that in destroyed me. It drowned me. I mean, it pushed me to the verge of trying to kill myself. Wow. There was secrets I hadn't told my mom until I was like 18. I was like 20 years old when I first told her everything I was living through with my stepdad, everything that had happened to me. I didn't tell her me getting raped at 13 until I was much older, So
that's crazy.
I lived thinking that like if I keep that shit to myself, like I'll be fine. But outwardly in my life, it was apparent how it was destroying me, because then you act out in aggression, or you act out with drugs, or you act out with your relationships and things of that nature, right? So it shows when you aren't dealing with that stuff and processing it, it shows up in different ways. So
go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. So talking about it was like, this is therapy. It felt liberating. I felt like, ooh, I'm getting it off my chest. There's certain traumas that are obviously harder to talk about, like the sexual assault. That was really, really hard for me to talk about.
The amount of women and girls who have been through it is fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
Literally, we had a group of friends of ours last week. Some little girls just came out again, like, who would have known? Like, this is so right next door.
No, and the effects of it.
It's unacceptable.
The effects of it too. Like, what's crazy is I didn't realize the effect that it had on me until I became a mom.
Right.
And then I like, oh shit, I'm hyper vigilant. I'm scared. I fear this. Like, you could ask my husband, there was nights where I would cry because I'm like, I can't trust nobody. Like nobody, no man in my life. I can't even trust other little kids, because the thing is too, I grew up where multiple of us got molested, right? And now kids are experimenting on kids, right? No one ever talks about it, but it's happening. Right. Playing house and shit. And now there's kids being sexualized. And then I think about, man, I don't know if my kid is growing up in a house where they're being exposed to that, and then they come and they want to experiment on my kids, and all these hidden dangers that like
it's crazy.
Don't come into play until you're a parent, and then it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, no, because that's deep. And like we were talking about that earlier, like as men, like we're automatically protectors, right? Mm-hmm. We automatically want to protect. It doesn't matter who it is. Like if you're a normal grown man, or you ain't even got to be a normal grown man, but if you have any sense of protection as a man, like anybody, it doesn't matter if it was a stranger. You see somebody doing something to a woman, hurting her, like you automatically, your first instinct is to go in there. Or when someone says, "Oh yeah, this happened to me," and it's a female, you're like, "Man, I wish I was there. I wish that motherfucker would." Right? And I think that's every man's instinct to go in there and be a protector.
You discuss masculinity, I think, in one of your things too.
Yeah.
You're like, I appreciate my husband. He's masculine there for me, but some days he just want to chill and not be there too. But we're naturally that. We'll whoop your ass, or we got you.
Yeah, and I think that's a beautiful quality. I know I had some like, you know, more, I don't know, what would be the word, liberal feminists that were like, oh, you attribute those traits to masculinity. That's a social construct and all this bullshit. And I was like, listen, if it came down to it and we were put in a position, let's say an apocalypse, okay, you know, would your man be able to protect you?
Yeah.
I mean, sure, you could have
really?
you know what, you know. Right. So I'm like, you can sit there and say you wouldn't want that, but if you were in a position to, if you're about to get assaulted, I would assume that your fight or flight instinct would be like, husband, can you handle that? You know what I mean? Can you protect us? And that's a beautiful quality and aspect of men, you know? But equally so, like I said in that clip, you know, the pressure to be that all the time, and I've always said this, men have it harder than women. Ooh, the women get mad when I say this, but it's true, because guess what? There ain't no space for you guys to be like, I have a hard life. You're going to have to figure it out, because that's what men have to do. God put y'all here to cultivate the land. He made a woman from your rib to help you do that in the wisest way. Now, she could be an aid to your life and double everything, because that's what women do. You know, we make a house a home. Double your pockets if you're with the right one, or she's gonna destroy you. She's gonna be deceived of the world, and she's gonna come and she's gonna bring that back to you as a man.
The Bible said that's our job. Like, our job is to lay our life down for you, and your only job is to respect us for it.
So that being said, when you guys want to come home and put that armor down and let that little kid out in you and play and joke with your best friend, you know, you know, she's got to be able to protect that. She's got to be able to let you love you enough to like, hey, with me, you don't have to be that hard ass that you are to the world. With here in this home, I'm gonna uplift you like that.
That's
so
pretty dope, man.
Yeah, that's dope.
A good view on that. Back to like trauma and the sexual assault type of shit. Like, I learned. I grew up in a home where the parent didn't want you to bring no problems to her. She'll make your life hell if you brought a problem, so your problems are yours. And I got one of my children's moms like that. The kids can't come to her with their problems, so it's like, where do you think they're gonna go? They gotta be able to come to us about anything. Don't just, I don't want to deal with you right now, and make them go solve their problems themselves, because that's how they're going to come up. And they're going to figure out a way to do it that's the wrong fucking way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and a lot of that comes from what was taught to you, right? A lot of us didn't grow up in homes with emotional intelligence.
Right, at all. Yeah.
You know? I think we live in a little bit of a hyper-emotional world right now. We're a little off balance. But it's important to know how to be emotionally intelligent to be able to be there for your kids, you know? I personally, I look at my family like a pack. We're a wolf pack, you know? Dad's a protector, he's a provider, he's the hunter. Mom's the one that's going to bring the emotional intelligence, the gatherer, right? The gatherer of wisdom and planting those seeds in my kids. And that means I have to do the work within myself as a woman, whatever it may be, to bring that to my family, to bring that to my husband, to bring that to my children. And, you know, a lot of us get clouded by our trauma. Not only that, it's comfortability. You don't know what you don't know, right? So if you lived in chaos your whole life, chaos is what feels comfortable. What you mean, peace? It's too quiet in my head. It's too quiet in my house. That's uncomfortable. But you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable if you're really trying to elevate in life, because that's what growth is. Growth ain't easy. Growing pains. That's why it's called that for a reason. You know.
So in this newfound world of feminism, right?
Yeah.
Or so-called feminism, like the independent woman, the woman that goes out and drinks and wants to have a man who has all the money and provide but doesn't want to cook. What are your thoughts of that?
Well, I definitely don't think that's feminism. I think that's a lie that they tell themselves. You know, to say that you're feminine. I mean, I'd be lying if I sat here and said, "Oh, I'm a feminine woman." You see me with the tattoos. I'm sitting here on a podcast with guys. I literally have my own podcast where that would be considered like an independent woman move. If I was a traditionalist fully to what the Bible says or what is considered traditional, I wouldn't have a podcast probably. I'd be devoted fully to my kids and my husband and be at home cooking all the time, which I do. But I myself, to be real with myself, can't sit here and say like I'm the cream of the crop of what a feminine woman is. But this idea that you can catch as many bodies as you want and not honor your temple and expect for a man to view you and think this is the one I want to marry. Now, listen, you might be able to choose the men who fuck you. Sorry, guys. You might be able to choose the man who fucks you, but you don't get to choose the man who wants to wife you. Right. So you can't sit here and take an approach to life where you want to do this, that, and the third and not being an honorable woman and then expect an honorable man to see that and be like, you know what? This is the one. Right. No, you gotta show those things. You gotta embody those things. You gotta be those things. It starts with accountability, though. Are you, and this is what I said all the time, what you receive is a reflection of who you are. Yeah. So if you're a woman complaining that all you are attracting is men who only want to hit it, that's because that's the only quality that you are showing. Right. Men, naturally, hormonally, y'all scope out partners, people who you could build families with. You know what I mean? Sometimes y'all might choose wrong if you ain't thinking with the right head, you know?
Some of us are predators. We look for that broken woman over there. We know that she's turning up and acting like this. We know what's up.
And that's very real because when you're dealing with a broken woman, you know, she's easier in certain ways than a woman who is, let's say, more healed. Because a woman who's healed is going to challenge you. She's not going to let you sit in your brokenness. Right. She ain't going to let you sit in your trauma. Oh, you got it hard? Okay, we got it hard, but we're going to work on it together. So expect to be uncomfortable with a solid woman because she's not going to let you settle for mediocre. Right. I think my husband could agree. I push him more than anybody. I will bring to light all his traumas. I will bring to light all the things, all his avenues in which he's failing, not because I'm trying to, you know, bring him down, but because I'm trying to not even fix him. He's got to do that.
Not fix him, but fix it. You know what I'm saying?
But make him aware of it.
I say all the time, like, fuck dancing around the facts. I want to get to the fix.
Yes.
I'm tired of everybody just dancing around with the facts. We know that part. Now let's get to fixing it.
Yeah.
Don't just stay there because, like, these are a fact. Put it in a fucked up fact pile and get on to the future. That fact don't got to be your future, man. You can eat that every day.
Yeah, but back to the question with the women, I mean, it's a tricky place because it takes two to tango, right? If we're looking at it in terms of a biblical standpoint, God put Adam here first, right? He deemed men the leaders. So, you know, it's a tit for tat in the sense that, you know, I do think part of it is a man's job to show his leadership and bring that out of a woman as much as it is a woman's job to understand and be accountable that, hey, you might need to be fixing where you're rough around the edges in order to have a man like that. So it takes two, you know.
I had a homegirl recently. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. No, tell me.
And she got into it with me. She's like, you think we need you to protect us? You think I'm like, oh, shit, where's this coming from? I just assumed all of us don't need a man. And I'm like, oh. Yeah. I thought, but I never had no press back. I thought y'all appreciated her. It was just our job. She was dead serious. Like, I don't need that. I'm like, oh, I can smell you're broken.
Yeah. Nah, see, and for things like that, you just gotta be like
I got you anyway.
Just start looking around because this whole society, this whole infrastructure, this building that you're sitting in, you know, the toilet that you use, that home that has the wonderful AC that you love, that fire pit, you wouldn't have that if it wasn't for a man. Yeah. Let's be real. Now, there's exceptions.
Preach.
There's women in blue collar fields, okay? But let's look at it. Every society that's thrived was built on the back of a man. So it's like and that's a trauma response. That's probably seeing mom get hurt by a man that she chose was a wrong man. Now she thinks all men ain't shit, and so now all men ain't nothing, and women have to be hyper independent, all this other stuff. That's what it is. It's just, you know, we make bad choices sometimes as women.
Yeah, I love thugs. You wonder why you ain't been treated right. A lot of thugs, you know, they doing what they do.
And you got to know what you're getting into, right? You got to know. And this is the thing, you know, and I think this comes from instant gratification society. You know, everything is it's got to be right away. You know, here's a pill, fix it. Yep. Here's a dopamine hit, scrolling. Here's this, right? Everything good takes work. You know, you're going to get with somebody, you guys both aren't going to be probably up to par where you should be to make a good relationship work. It's going to take both of you actually shattering, actually getting to the depths and the ugly of each other and being able to say, oh, shit, we are not the best people if we really were to break it down, but we're going to work together to become that. Yeah. A lot of women want men who just got it all right away, but you ain't even got a quarter of yourself yet. Right, what do you mean? You know, it takes work.
Yeah. How long have you been married?
We've been married a year, but we've been together for 11 years.
Oh, 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, took so long, bro.
Grill him. No,
hey, so 11 years, it's a long time. A lot of relationships don't last for 6 months. You know what I mean? So what do you think the secret is? I mean, I'm pretty sure no relationship is perfect, right? Mm-hmm. But what's the secret to a longevity, right? Because you seem to have a lot of answers. I mean, you focus on trauma and psychological issues and shit. So what do you think the answer is for a long, healthy relationship?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you right now, God. It took us 3 breakups in about 7 years to realize that the one thing we were not getting right is that God wasn't at the forefront of our relationship.
Yeah, you put him in there.
You know, we kept thinking we could figure it out. Enough talks, enough heart to hearts, enough this, that, and the other. No, the missing puzzle piece was God. And the reason why I say that is because it ain't necessarily what's from the Bible, right? But part of it is scripture has helped me a lot tune into how I want to be there. Sometimes I now fully admit as a woman, there's been times where I've hyper focused on like, why aren't you this man yet, right? And then I sat back and I saw what God told me to do. God was like, you are called to love your husband unconditionally. Why are you trying to change him?
Right.
And so then that checked me as a woman, and I was like, man, I'm sitting here like pissed off and letting it build resentment in me that he's not at this place yet. But God didn't tell me to change my man. God told me to love my man. Right. So then I started loving him unconditionally. Then I started really just focusing on that, and then that's when I would start seeing the change in him that I wanted to see. So then I was like, okay, God, well, you're telling me, you're giving me the rules, the keys to success. I wasn't listening. I thought I had it figured out. Yeah. So I would say that. But if it's something other than religious, right? If it's people that don't believe in that, I would say the keys to a successful relationship is comprehension, is consideration,
accountability,
is the communication. Yeah. It's the vulnerability, it's the transparency. This is what I say all the time. You shouldn't be with somebody that you wouldn't go to war with and that you can't cry like a child with.
Oh, that's deep.
You got to know that the person you're with, if it was all odds against you guys, y'all would be back-to-back machine guns pointed at everybody coming at you. But also, when you guys are the most broken you've ever been, she'll be right there. He'll be right there.
Yeah, the definition of ride or die, right? Yeah, that's true stuff. So, what do you think about like when you hear things like Epstein Island, right, and the kids and things of it that have been going on over there, and then you see people like Donald Trump, grabbing girls by their, what I mean? What is your thoughts when you see that, being from a place of trauma and being a woman and being a wife and who has kids? What's your take on that?
Well, I think that God was very clear when he said that Satan is the god of this world. He is. He runs this world. That's why there's so much evil that's rampant here, and it's gonna be here. You know what I mean? When I think of that, what Trump said, grabbing the girl by the pussy. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but it's funny because one, it's locker room talk. Let's be for real, Right. Men be talking about some stupid shit behind closed doors.
Women do too.
And we do.
Women do too.
We do. We are definitely talking about some dumb shit. So when I feel like people see that and they're like, oh, that's crazy to say. I mean, in a sense, because he has a platform and there's a level of responsibility with influence, right? I agree. It was leaked though. And we all be saying some crazy shit behind closed doors. But the context in which he was actually saying that, because I did study this, he was actually talking about like what we would call OF girls.
Right. Exactly.
You pay,
I'm so big and bad, I can do it, I ain't tripping.
Exactly. You get to a certain stature, you get to a certain a level of status and money. There's women out there that will let you grab them by the pussy. Yeah. And honestly, people were shocked because that's shock content. Oh my God, a president is saying this. But let's be real. We are all out here and we know that there's women, if the price is right, they'll let you do whatever and worse, I just think people weren't expecting to hear that so bluntly.
I just wasn't expecting to see it defended by like that group of people. I'm like, whoa, I thought you were the motherfuckers that was all the way against this stuff. They're like, it's cool, bro. I'm like, is it?
Yeah. Well, like I said, there's extremists, right? There's people that don't have balance and can't call out like, hey, this is probably inappropriate to say as a president. We get where you were going with that, but overall, you're trying to be talking like that. And
I know there's broken women out there, broken people out there, and I know, but, nah. And you gotta, as a fucking grown up, you gotta be like, nah, probably not. Yeah. Cool, you're the big baller boss, and everybody wants you, and you're here to snatch and browse everything. But that makes you sleep better at night, it makes you feel good tomorrow morning.
Yeah. I don't think he was saying it like literally, like that he was doing that.
Well, no, he's motherfucker been to court 27 times for it.
Well, the whole politics shit. You're talking about the Stormy Daniels things.
No, I'm just about Trump. Though.
The Stormy Daniels. She was the one I think that was accusing him of like rape or something like that.
No, she fucked him regular. She's a prostitute.
Oh no, she accused him.
She's a porn star. She accused
him.
Oh, did she? Oh, see, I don't know.
Paying it off to cover it up.
What she did?
He paid her just to not say anything.
And that's nothing new in these elitists.
He was talking about, but he's like, yeah, man, when you're rich and whatever. You just go up and grab by the pussy. They don't care. You can kiss them, whatever. I'm like, I get it, bro, but like that's what you're bragging on about to be a president on me?
Yeah.
Oh, you broke it more than most motherfuckers. I'm just not with it.
Yeah. Well, that goes hand in hand with the whole Epstein stuff.
For sure.
You get to a certain stature, and it's like we're kind of sick too when you see the people that are in positions financially, the influence
cash can get you to
No, but and just the influence that they have on institutions, right? Like the Rockefeller family bought out all the public schools. They bought out all the college books and all these things. And then we're sitting here wondering why we're sending our kids to college, and then they come out, everything but a woman, or everything but what it means to be a man. But if you follow the money, it's very apparent who's paying for what, who's funding what, and then it just makes sense. Everything makes sense. And you're like, oh, this is why they normalize this stuff so much. This is why they talk about this stuff so much. It just makes sense. It's infiltration of the mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to go back to something that we were talking about earlier, right? Like addiction.
Yeah.
You said you were addicted, right?
Yes.
And you were addicted to crystal.
Yes.
Meth, right?
Let's use the word indulged.
How did you break that? Because there's a lot of people right now that are addicted to that need to hear your story.
Yeah.
Like how can you overcome that? Because I've never fell victim to that, thank God. You know what I mean? But it was everywhere around me.
Yeah.
And I could have easily fell victim. Like plenty of times I've been drunk and motherfuckers were like, yeah, and I was like, cool. But luckily I had friends that were like, man, hell no, he ain't doing that. You know what I mean? I was lucky enough to be around people that looked out for me, and I vice versa. I looked out for other people too. But being down with that, how did that come about? How did you
like overcome
it? Yeah, my bad.
To be honest, it comes down to character.
You didn't like what you saw no more.
I got sick of myself.
Yeah.
I wish I could say, oh, do this, that, and the other, and then you could cure the disease of addiction. But what it comes down to is your own willpower. It comes down to, are you going to continue to let your demons hold you back? Are you going to continue to let that be an excuse for what you're doing? You know, and that applies to everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
So addiction is that's why dealing with people who are addicts is one of the hardest things for loved ones and whatnot, because you're like, if I love them enough, if I tell them enough, if I put them in enough programs, if I do this, that, and the other, if I preach to them enough, what it comes down to is their own character, their own willpower. Do they want it bad enough to change? I wanted it bad enough to change, so I did. And for me, I always thought, this is just how my mind works. I like to be the best at everything that I do. I like to give everything my 100%. So when it hit me that I'm like half-assing life, and it hit me that like, this is what you're doing. Right. This is where you're gonna go.
Right.
Like, what the fuck are you doing? That was when it was like.
At that point, did you know that you were telling yourself the wrong shit?
Oh yeah, that's when I was like, something's got to change. And plus, I had my daughter at this point too, right? Oh, so shit. I was looking at her and I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. Like, I can't be this woman. I can't expect you to be better than me if I'm not better than me.
Straight up.
And I got to be better than me. So whatever that takes. And then that's when the fire started under my own ass. Because now, and I've said this before on other podcasts, I'm real competitive with myself. It's me against me.
Your job came
so now it's like, okay, there's no limits because I refuse.
Yeah.
Well, you could have easily turned that around, right? And you could have been like the best dope fiend that you could have been, and you could have been like, man, instead of 2 rocks today, I'm smoking 20. Fuck this, right?
That's I mean, perspective. Yes, you definitely could have.
Was it your daughter that turned it around? Was it something pivotal in your life that just was like, you were like, you know what?
Oh yeah, her.
This? Yeah,
her.
Definitely.
The what my calling is as a mom. I can't be.
She awakened to you and you needed to find you type of shit.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I even just think, I had her when I was young. I had her at 7. I got pregnant at 17, had her at 18. There's this stigma around having kids so young, And people always like to say, well, you got to wait till you're more figured out or financially stable or this, that, and the other. I believe God gives you your kids when it's meant for you to have your kids in your life.
Yeah.
And sure, we struggled. She struggled with me a lot. But she's a lot of the reason why I was able to come out of a lot of situations, because it was her. It was, I got to leave this toxicity because of you, because I don't want you going through this. I don't ever want my daughter to look at me and call me a hypocrite. That to me is like the fucking failure that I would feel as a mom if my daughter looked at me and was like, you told me to not be this and not do this and not do that, and you were everything that you said to not to be. I as a person would feel like I failed at life. And I can't feel that, you know?
I tell my kids all the time, you got one job, that's to be better than me and your mom. I believe I've succeeded with my parents.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to show you kids, my kids, how to be better than me and your moms. Period. Because that's your only job. Don't make the same mistakes, whatever. Like, that's your job. It's crazy, though, this conversation became into a lot of testimonial damn near, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's really, if you really know your soul, that's really what it is.
Yeah, it comes out.
You have no idea how powerful you could be when you don't think those same thoughts that are eating you to death.
Yeah.
Just tell them to fuck off once and you'd be surprised how you finally have freedom and peace again.
Mm-hmm. Liberation.
I don't got to be mad all day or make the excuses all day or do this dope all day. No, you don't, man.
Yeah, that's actually how I fought depression.
Yeah.
I tried to off myself, and then after I got out of the hospital, I was
Can't say it like that. I try to off myself like it's nothing.
It's true.
It's crazy.
Hey, that's what happens.
Fuck.
That's what it was. And I got out of the hospital, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be depressed anymore.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at myself, and I was like, how the fuck am I not going to be depressed anymore? And then I just asked God. That was like the first time I surrendered to God. And I was like, God, help me through this. And then I just started getting these revelations. So then God was like, every day, wake up, tell yourself that you're beautiful and you're worthy of being here. I would wake up every day.
Talk to yourself and him like it already happened.
But that's what it was. I didn't know at the time that's what I was doing. But what you just said, the power of my thoughts. My thoughts were my reality. So I kept focusing on, oh, my dad doesn't love me. Oh, I'm worthless. I'm this, I'm that. That was my reality. Once I started telling myself, no, you're worthy. You're beautiful. You're going to live life. You're going to be prosperous. You're going to excel. That's when I didn't realize, but I was actually changing. You change your nervous system. You heal your nervous system when you do that. You're changing the chemistry in your brain and the chemicals that get let off, right?
Keep it real, you're like,
yeah,
keep it real now. All right.
Once you notice the power of your mind, you know? Yeah. And then before I knew it, I couldn't remember the last time I had felt depressed. And that is when I knew, like, ooh, there's power. Yeah. There's power in the mind.
Because a lot of those fucked up facts are always going to be a fucked up fact, but it don't got to be your tomorrow's future. Yeah. Just put it in that pile, water on the duck feather, and keep it moving, man.
Yeah. And you know what, too, with that? A lot of people feel good being the victim of their life.
They love it. Now you have pity, you have an excuse, you have a reason to go down that lane. And here's the lane where you get your likes and they're, oh, are you okay? And everybody sees you really sit stagnant when you're there.
Yep.
I want someone that's going to argue about it. Like, no, that's not what it is. In fact, I surround myself with people that will not agree with me if they don't feel that way, which is dope.
And that's true friendship.
You're different. You're an idiot. I was talking about this guy over here, but whatever.
No, but look, I'm not religious at all. I'm a student of all religions, right?
Oh, so I like that.
I believe in a higher power. I believe there's a God, but I don't subscribe to any religion because I haven't found one that suits me yet. If I was going to be any religion, it'd probably be Muslim.
Should be it then, because Catholic, you just like, well,
why
whatever,
Muslim?
say the prayer and you're clear.
Because the way their teachings, and I haven't studied everything. That's why I'm not. I don't know everything, but everything that they stand for, everything that I have heard from them, because I've been to a mosque, I've been to synagogues, I've been to
Sons of Abraham. It's all good.
I've been to Sikh temples, right?
Yeah.
I've sat with the people. Sikhs are some of the nicest people I would ever meet. But anyway, if it was like, because the difference between Muslims and Christians are just the fact that they pray differently. Right, the fact that they pray, the Quran does have different verses, and it's basically the Bible reinterpreted. Right?
Yeah.
It's
Muslims believe in Muhammad, right?
They believe in in the Prophet Muhammad. They do not believe that the Messiah has come yet. You know what I mean? They do believe that Jesus was one of the most powerful prophets, and they do believe Jesus Christ existed. They just don't believe that he was the Messiah. Right, gotcha. But they do believe Allah is a literal translation of God. Yeah. Right. So when you say Allah, that's not his name. That just means God. So when Jesus was around at the time and he prayed to God, he would pray to Allah. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of people be like, oh, when they make fun of Allah, they're really making fun of God, which is their God, which is, you know what I mean?
The God of all gods.
The God of all gods. Yeah. Right. Definitely. So, like I said, I'm nowhere near educated enough on it to understand, to believe. To me, I want to be fully educated on something before I believe in anything. And that goes with the street game. That goes with the dope game. That goes with religion. You know what I mean? I'm not going to follow something blindly. Yeah. So,
well, that's a wonderful quality to have, because then you're crossing your T's and dotting your I's, and you're searching for the truth within you, or the truth that makes sense best to the life that you live. And just being able to do that and explore those avenues, you know what I mean, will lead you to where you're supposed to be.
Right, but I think I'm a student of all religions, because I've always said that. Like, well, I grew up Catholic. Yeah. Right. And I just didn't subscribe to a lot of the Catholic beliefs.
Yeah.
Right? Because it was one thing I would always question my grandma on stuff. And she would be like, you're not supposed to question God. Well, why not?
Yeah.
How am I supposed to understand what I'm believing?
Yeah.
I'm just supposed to follow a dude blindly and be like,
you're
not
much.
supposed to do this? Like,
My homegirl told me too that you guys weren't taught that like God is merciful.
Yeah.
That she was taught that like if she does something wrong, you are betraying God and that's like the worst thing you could do. And so she had this fear in her about having a relationship with God. Cause she was like, am I going to mess up? I'm not going to be perfect. Like then he's going to condemn me and he's going to,
Look how the enemy put that thought in there and fuck her up.
Right. And then she went to Christianity and then she was like, oh, God's merciful.
Right. Well, that was the thing. Cause I always thought like, well, I mean, if God is your father, right. And like, I'm a father, right? So I was thinking, man, what's the worst thing my daughter could do that would make me want to punish her for eternity, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking everything. I think the worst thing that my daughter could do would probably kill my mom in front of me, right? Which is hella morbid and sick, right?
Yeah.
But that's probably be the worst thing that could happen. But I would still love my daughter, regardless. You know what I mean? Yeah, I thought that out, right? And I was like, I'd still like so. In God, if he's supposed to be your father, why would he condemn his children, any of his children, to eternity of hell? So that's where I left Catholicism at. I was like, I'm good.
My caveat with that though is God condemning us, or are we condemning ourselves because we're choosing wrong?
Sorry.
Like my little
that would be the, that would be the same. That would be the same thing as did my daughter condemn herself or her actions? I mean, you know what I mean?
Well, did she?
Well,
if she would have killed your mom, did she?
But
choose that?
It would be up to me though. If did I condemn her or did her actions do it? But I would still not want to condemn her, right? She's still my daughter.
Yeah.
So I would not want to, even though like she might have done it to herself. If I'm the final say, if I'm the punisher, I would still not want to do to condemn her to hell. I would still see the light and tell her, hey, now you could change. Don't trip. Come with me. Yeah. Do I believe you should be punished? Am I pissed off because what you did to my mom? But nah, I'm still gonna love you. You're my kid. Ain't nobody gonna hurt you. And no matter what, I will take that pain for you if I have to. Right?
Well, see, your understanding of it is my understanding of Christianity. That's exactly how God was taught to me. That we are here and we have the free will to choose right from wrong. Well, this all started with Adam and Eve, right? And Eve eating from the tree of knowledge and evil, or good and evil.
Right.
She ate from that apple and she saw the ugly in the world, right? God already said that Satan, the fallen angel, the one who betrayed him, he is the God of this world. He admits that there's many gods, but Satan is the one that's the God of this world. And God said, you will be deceived by him, right?
Right.
And if you fall into his deception, you are going where he is going to lead you.
Yeah.
Now, if you follow where I'm telling you to go, then you'll be of the light, right? But you have the free will to choose. So what you're saying, right? Your God loves you. He loves you. Even when you do bad, he'll forgive you. I was taught that in Christianity, that is what God is. He's forgiving. That's why you're able to sin and you're able to ask for forgiveness, and he forgives you from that. Obviously, there's a difference with habitual sin. If you're choosing to continue sin, then you acting like you're for God, but you ain't really for God. You're
still playing.
But we all habitually sin.
Not necessarily.
Not really.
Well, nobody's perfect.
No, so a habitual sin is purposely knowing that you're doing. So I'll give you an example, right? You're lusting. Let's say you struggle with lust.
Right.
And you always think about like, damn, this person's hella fine. I'm fantasizing about sleeping with them, right? Now, you know that it's wrong. Let's say you're in a relationship. You know that it's wrong. You shouldn't be doing that, right? And you ask God, hey, God, take this sin from my heart. I don't want this, right? The enemy ain't going to stop trying to tempt you.
No.
You're actually going to see it even more. It's going to be more apparent because now you're trying to turn to God.
As soon as you do that, he shows up. You're worse the devil. He be like, God's
the only thing that could take you away from that, right? But that sin will always be there. Now, if you give in to that sin, if you know that you're not supposed to do it, but you continuously do the same sin, if you're like, all right, God, well, you know what? I'm going to fantasize again tonight, but I'm going to ask you for forgiveness right after. Or that's habitual sin. Right. Knowing that you're not supposed to do it, but you continue to do it, and then you're kind of milking God's forgiveness to forgive you. You're going against your own consciousness, the Holy Spirit in you that's convicting you to not be doing shit like that.
Yeah. Right.
Now, sin, are we going to sin? Yeah. We might punch someone in the face. We might continue to do. You might lust occasionally, but it's.
Well, where's your heart now? You might fire on this motherfucker in 2 minutes later. You're like, damn, and you feel bad. Your soul feel bad. That's where we're at. That's the good part. Then you know, what I'm saying? You'll be like, damn, forgive me, or whatever. Now you and I had a talk earlier, which I couldn't wait to tell you about. This motherfucker, he say, "Oh, I don't forgive." I'm like, "Oh, chicken." No, you gotta be able to forgive, man. I mean, I forgive my worst enemies and shit. Like,
wait, but why don't you forgive? I want to understand.
Yeah, watch this part.
But I don't forgive. Like, I'll forget about it. I don't forgive because that's up to God to forgive. I'm not God. I'm not holy. I don't pretend to be. So may God forgive you, for I never will. I think Joan Mark said that. So
what do you do? Hold on to the hate?
No, so forgetting.
I don't hate. No, I don't hold on to the hate. Now, let me
where did it go?
Mind you, the hate, the hate is pushed somewhere deep inside. Now,
if
somebody, wait, hold on.
You're holding it. Dude.
Elaborate.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
If somebody betrays me, right, and I'll cut him out of my life or whatever, or I don't see him or whatever, 20 years, I forget about it. It's not there. The minute I see him, I'm gonna catch his ass. I don't care how long it's gonna be. 5 years, 10 years, 20 years.
That sounds like
the minute
hold
I
on
see
to
him,
misery.
but the whole time until I see him, I don't give a shit about him.
Okay, but my thing with that is, hold on.
Hey, it's real shit.
I tried to get him earlier. He wasn't listening. Get him.
No.
That to me, respectfully, just shows me that you are allowing people willfully to have that much control over you and your emotions. Because if you could forget what someone did and choose to not forgive them, but 10 years later, they can still get you out of character. That person, whether you like it or not, has control over you. Now, my forgiveness, right? I forgave, the person who raped me, right? I didn't want to, nor do I feel like he needed it, right? It was one of those things where that's between you and God, because you fucked me up in a way that I could never, ever get back. But I had to forgive him so that 10 years when I see him, he doesn't have power over my emotions no more. Guess what? You don't get to affect me mentally, emotionally, and spiritually the way that you once did. And my forgiveness is what liberated me from that. Now your trespass, your trauma, your infliction of pain on me has no hold. For real. That is what forgiveness is.
And you might still fuck him up.
It's taking my power back.
You can still fuck him up 10 years later.
I wouldn't.
But you freed yourself of those 10 years with the forgiveness.
But hold on, like, that's the thing. Like, if that happened to me and I seen someone 10 years later, I'm gonna kill the motherfucker. Like, regardless, like, it's not gonna be.
Prison.
I mean, if
this one,
whatever happened to me, it's like whatever happens, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not tripping. Like, so for me to forgive somebody, right? Like, they would have to. It would have to be something not as bad. But like, one thing I don't forgive is betrayal. Like, if I would do for you, right? What I would do for somebody, I wouldn't even ask in return. All I'd ask is a bare minimum of loyalty. The bare minimum.
Might have to lower your expectations.
So yeah, my expectations are pretty low. But if you betray that loyalty, all right, one, I ain't gonna fuck with you, and two, the minute I see you, I'm gonna fuck you up, because I don't give my trust, I don't give my loyalty to everybody. But that shit is very rare, because it's been taken advantage, it's been used. So I don't allow that to happen. But when I do allow it, it's special, because it's real, it's organic. You know what I mean? It's unfiltered. Like, I'm gonna give you my love and my respect. For you to turn around and betray me, now it's like, okay, there's gonna be some get back.
Yeah.
Why?
See, that to me,
it's always gonna be
no. I hear you with that, because there's one girl that to this day I've struggled. You know, I'm actually not struggling with it as much as I did, but this girl took one of my cousins to a party, and her homeboys raped my cousin. I picked her up. I took her to the hospital. Like, I had her fucking rapist in my fucking face, and I was like, "Where's the homegirl that brought you? Where is she?" I ended up finding out later this was the second person that this had happened to. She actually had another younger homegirl that she took. Same shit happened to her. The other girl didn't have poisoning like my cousin had, so the circumstances were different. But I always wanted to catch her. Like, I asked for the fade, tried to fade her in the courthouse, like, always. And she was still trolling online. She was still talking shit online. And for a long time, I pushed it to the back of my mind. I'm not thinking about her. It's not affecting my everyday life. And that's the number one mistake that I made, is I'm not thinking about it, so it's not affecting me. But funny, when I do think about it, now I'm fucking filled with all the rage, and I'm ready to, like, want to pull up. And I would get into these modes, like, ask my husband, like, I was like, I'm stalking all her stuff, found her address, it was just, sent her a picture of the front of her house, because it was just, she was fucking with me, you know?
Yep.
I had to get to a point, though, of like, damn, you gotta be a real fucked up person to do what you did.
Yeah,
and you got a daughter now, and you let this fool be around your daughter. Like, I want to beat your ass, but if I'm sitting there looking at your life, your husband's cheating on you, he ain't with you, you got a fucking
bad.
rapist around your daughter, like, I don't even gotta have vengeance. I don't even gotta do that because it's apparent that you've already laid your bed and you're laying in it. So why am I gonna be dealing with these heavy ass emotions in my life when I'm trying to create peace, when I'm trying to advance? To me, that's counterintuitive. It's counterintelligent to live with these emotions that have such a profound effect and that will cause you to do something where the repercussion of it isn't going to benefit or isn't going to be conducive to your life. Because why would you let someone who ain't shit get you to do something that you shouldn't do, and now you threw away all that work, you know?
Yeah, but see, but what you said is, right, you thought about it, and then she pissed you off every time you thought about it. It doesn't piss me off, and I rarely think about it. So I don't let it affect me like that. Like, I've never let it ruin my day. I've never went and stalked motherfuckers.
Were you always this way though?
Yeah.
Since a kid?
Yeah.
Or were you
so
you've always been stoic like that?
So I think it goes back to where when I was young, right? So like me and my sisters, right? My sister would always be like, hey, don't tell mom I did this, right? But the minute I do something, she would do. So then I wouldn't say nothing still. But then I'm like, all right, bitch, I'm not going to, you know what I mean? I'm from now on, you ain't going to know what I do. And I'm going to do my shit. And I ain't telling you, but I don't trust you no more.
It's trauma,
right?
Yeah.
It wasn't really, I don't see it's trauma. It's little kid shit. Like just little tit for tat shit, right? Yeah. So my whole life growing up, like I would see, motherfuckers would do shit, right? And I'd be like, oh, okay, motherfucker, watch. And then, maybe a week, 2 weeks later, their bike tires are popped. Their bike gets stolen. Oh, damn, fool, that's fucked up. Damn. Maybe you shouldn't be talking shit.
When you would get your get back, how would you feel?
Yeah. Cool. Let it go. It's done.
So you feel
I'm done. I got my get back
for doing the same.
But I still wouldn't fuck with the person.
Yeah, but
right? I already knew
it felt like, all right, cool, now I can let this go.
Yeah, basically.
Now you feel better.
I got it. Yeah, but now I don't fuck with that dude no more. Like, I ain't fucking with you now. I'm cool.
Of course, but I find that it's interesting that you're like one of your predominant betrayals was from someone who probably shouldn't have betrayed you, like your sister, and something so petty and childish like that had such big of a profound impact on you that you even brought that into your adulthood to still feel the need to get back.
It wasn't just that, right? So it wasn't just like that. It's just progressively over time, right? So, but that's just how I've always been. So I don't care about.
It's never too late to change, man.
I don't care.
Okay, wait. Now hold on. I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think that is the right way to be?
It hasn't failed me yet.
So you do?
Yeah.
It hasn't. I mean, yeah. Why not? Well, because everything that has happened, everything I've done has led me to where I am here. It led me around a group of people that I can trust. It led me, to be semi-successful in my life. So
brother,
then if it works for you, then I think it works for you. Personally, I wouldn't take that approach to life. I'm a big believer in what goes around comes around. And I'm like, I got kids. You might not get me. You might get mine, though. And I don't want to run. That's a risk. That's a gamble I just don't want to take because I seen that happen. My dad is very much like you. My dad is, that is how I grew up. Let me tell you, my dad, that's very much his mentality to life. I'll tell you right now, it's been 28 years and he is seeing the consequences to his actions. Yeah. And I have tried so many a time to spare my dad. I have tried so much to tell him, like, Dad, I know that you think this is the right way because this is what got you this far. And he's a very successful man.
Right.
But now your whole family is breaking apart. Yeah. So were you really that successful? Was that mentality really the best one? Because everything that you taught us, now we're grown. Now we're healing from it. Now we're living. Now we got our families. Now we're like, ooh, that actually got us in some binds. And now those connections that you thought you were establishing or those ways that you thought were the right way because it worked for you, they're actually coming back full circle. And my dad is having to really go through a lot of loss right now in terms of his connection with his kids or like how certain kids are.
It's coming back around.
Yeah. And now he's like, damn, maybe I shouldn't have taught you guys that. Maybe I shouldn't have been that way. Right. But it wasn't something that he could see it right away because that karma wasn't on him, right?
Right. But hindsight is 20/20, right?
Exactly.
So But I was just arguing with him about it.
Yeah, well, I wasn't trying to bash you.
No.
You're my partner now.
No.
Make no mistake, in my belief, if you holding on to anything, even I took it in, it's there though, man. It's a lack of a piece of freedom you can't have. And I was the first one back in the day to be like, they did what? We're not letting it go ever.
You know what? But
every day till we win.
But I think you exploring and you wanting to like find your curiosity to figure out different religions, and you have a curiosity, you believe in a higher power,
right?
There's that curiosity that's there. So I think regardless, you are going to find whatever truth needs to be, you know, for your life to come full circle and for you to have the revelations that you need to have. So that's the hope. Now if you were to be like, I don't believe in no higher power and I don't care to find one, then I'd be like, oh shit, this might be a little harder.
I mean, dude, I've been through shit in my life where it's like it couldn't be nothing but God. Like, you know what I mean? Like I shouldn't be here right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I should be dead or I should be doing 25 to life right now.
Yeah.
Real shit. And you know, there was a reason, and it's not one time, it's not 5 times, it's several times, and it kept going over and over. And one day I was like, you know what? I need to stop doing this bullshit because I think the last time, the one time that really clicked in my head. So I'm going with my boys, right? We all selling we all got Chris on us. We selling that shit, right? And I'll tell this story because I've told it before. And I got 4 homies in the car with me. We all got shit. We all got money. We all got guns. We all have crystal. And my boy goes, hey, stop right here, and you know I'm gonna sell something real quick. Let him out, gets back in, he's like, let's go. So start driving off. First thing we hear, woo, fuck. My boy in the back seat starts throwing shit under my seat. I'm like, fuck. Mind you, I don't have no charges on me, whatever. I said, fuck it. Everybody just throw it under the seat. I'm taking it. I'll take it all. It's my car. I ain't tripping. Pull over and shit. And my boy, Big Loco, was with me. And he's like, no, don't trip, fool. We going together. Man, you a real one. Idiot. But that's my brother. But nah. Anyways, so the cop comes up to the window. I'm like, play cool. I wrote down, good evening, officer. He said, shut the fuck up. He said, I know what the hell you got. I know what you just sold. Tell your buddies in that house that we're watching them. And if I see you guys over here in this neighborhood again, I'm not only gonna bust you for what you have then. I'm gonna bust you for what you have now. Have a good night, gentlemen. And he walked away. And I was stuck, and I was like, and I looked at my boy. He's like, I was like, should I go? The cop left, and I'm stuck for like 5 minutes. I'm like, this is a trick, fool. We gonna get some SWAT on us. He was like, dude, just fucking drive. And I'm like, yeah, damn. And I drove off hella slow, just waiting. But then that was it. So that day I decided, like, you know what? I'm selling everything I got. And you know what I mean? That's it. I'm going to invest in something else. So I took that money and invested into a CD store. Yeah. And that's from then, I've been straight from that. I didn't like selling crystal anyway because I don't like being around crystals.
So it was grace.
No, I'm saying.
God's grace that changed your life.
It was someone's grace. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
interesting.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I believe in something, because that's one of many times that it happened like that.
Yeah.
You know? He can help you forgive too.
What's to say that the grace that you embody can't do the same thing for the people that you harbor feelings towards?
Oh, because fuck them. I mean, all right. I mean, it's just like I'm not worried about their grace. I'm not worried about their forgiveness. I'm not worried about you
extending grace to them.
I'm not worried about my grace to them.
This is an awkward therapy session. Let's
I think you brought it up. You know, but I'm not trying to extend shit to nobody. To me, it's like that's not my job. Yeah. I'm not holy. I'm not religious. You know, hey, that's between you and your God, whatever God you believe in.
Bro, when you said that to me today, you said that to me today on the phone.
I said that to you.
And you were like, oh, for your shit. I was like, what? For real? I was like, you know, I just got into it myself the last couple of years, but I didn't either. But how freeing it is when you can. Like, I'm telling you, motherfuckers that did some wrong shit, I
feel free already.
I've been trying to forgive them so I don't actually fuck them up like how you normally be in your head when if you grew up a crazy man. Yeah. It's working, but I couldn't believe when you said that because I'm like, damn, I thought all grown-ups were kind of almost like, well, I can have peace when I sleep tonight because I don't think I could sleep with peace if I didn't try to forgive. Yeah. If I was like, they did what?
No, look,
I'm gonna sleep all night plotting on that motherfucker.
I'm not totally hard-headed. I'm not totally closed-minded on shit, right? Yeah. I'm totally open-minded. I'm arguing for the sake of argument right now. Yeah. But I'm totally open-minded to anything. Just like I'm open-minded to religion, I'm open-minded to everything. So if there's a time that it could, you know, if I see something that will like you said, it makes you feel better or whatever. If that comes to a pass, then okay, I'll do that. Yeah. But there have been times where I try to extend my hand to people after squashing it, and they just
I've
had those.
Also, what's the difference between letting something go and forgiving?
Right.
Like I've let something go.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
There's certain people
But that's one thing. I'll let it go until I see the motherfucker again. Like I don't care, but it's not like I'm looking for a motherfucker. But when I see you again, I'm slapping the fuck out of you.
I think letting go is just it's another way of just I'm not letting it be on the forefront of my mind.
You're not letting it have no power.
You know, forgiving to me is I'm trying to change my own life, right? I'm trying to live every day as close to God's image as I can. Yeah. You know, so if the God that I believe in is a forgiving and merciful and gracious God, and if he could do it and he's done it to me with how much I've fucked up in my life, what's to say I can't do that to my own enemies, to my own trespassers, to my Judases?
It ain't easy.
You know? Forgiving.
Is saying you're okay for doing that?
No.
No, forgiving.
No, it's like I'm basically just like I'm not holding on to this hate in my heart over
you're letting it go.
I'm gonna let it go so it doesn't.
That's letting it go.
So it don't hurt my parenting tomorrow or my sleep tonight and those things. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna free that thought that is bothering me today.
Or so that you don't feel the need to act if you were to see them. You know what I mean?
That's the second part, though, and that's the hard part because I don't know.
That's when I say. That's what I mean when I say that putting it to the back of your mind and saying I let it go. It works because it's not at the forefront. That person is not in front of your face, right? Right. But you will show yourself just how much you didn't let it go when they're in front of your face. True that. You know? And then it's gonna be very apparent, like, oh no, I let it go until I seen you. But it was always there. So you never really let it go. You just pushed it away. You know what I mean? Forgiving is I could see you right in front of me and you won't even move me to touch you. Yeah. Because you don't have that power over me.
But then
I'll let God exercise his retribution.
Thank you. But then that also says
you want me to do this right now?
That also says to the person
I'll fucking do it.
Like okay, whatever you did to me was okay. Hell no,
yeah,
it wasn't okay.
But here's
Fuck you.
But here's my
Fuck
thing.
Fuck you and everything you stand for, because I'm not gonna let you think that's okay. Because if I forgive you, I feel like it's like, look, I forgive my kids when they spill milk. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But like God. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, like, I'm not gonna forget if the betrayal was there. Yeah. If the betrayal was something real and it was blatant. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you stepped on my white shoes. Okay, that's why. And you say, hey, excuse me, sorry. Yeah. Cool, no problem. Don't even worry about it. I'll wipe my shit off. But now, if you stomp on my shit and be like, what you gonna do, bitch? Yeah. Hold on, you got me fucked up. Yeah. Hold on, now that's a whole different thing. Now, I mean, like. For me, like, I ain't turning the other cheek. Fuck you, because, hey, for me forgiving you, it's like, oh, it's okay, fool. Just step on my new shoes and disrespect me and treat me like a bitch.
Yeah, but see, that I had that mentality too, but that's because I internalized how I need to outwardly appear to people. I could give a fuck less what someone thinks about me. Yeah. I don't care if someone thinks I'm a square. I don't care if you think you got over on me, because when I'm looking at you and where I'm at in life, like I told you that example of that girl, you ain't with your man, he's cheating on you, you got a rapist around your baby, you don't have a fucking family, you don't got love. Life is already fucking you up. I don't have to.
Right. But you know, for us, it's like if you break in my locker, you can rob from me the rest of your life. Like, that's how we grew up. So that's the thing.
It might be different for men. But, well, you know what? I don't know. Because I there's a lot of, like, gang members and street dudes that I go to church with, and they've reached that level, like, of understanding and connection in their own lives. I think it's case by case, what you have to go through, what challenges you're faced with. I'll tell you straight up, I've had girls that have had beef with me that tried to do some shady shit when I was younger, have seen my podcast, seen what I do online, and they've sent me a message straight up being accountable, apologizing for what they've done.
Yeah. Okay, now that if a motherfucker want to apologize, all right, cool.
No, you're good.
Okay,
you got me back.
You be like, okay, cool, but stay the fuck over there, because I've already seen what you are not like. It's cool. It ain't no beef, but stay the fuck over there.
Yeah, and it's definitely that's you know, no one's gonna be my friend. I'm not gonna be your friend anymore. But it's like I can respect that. You've gone through enough things in your life to be able to see where you went wrong, and now you're trying to right your wrongs. And for me, Uncle, you betrayed me the way that you did. I respect enough that you at least had the heart enough to be honest with yourself, and you had the humility enough to come correct. Right. So I might not trust you, have you around me, but it shows a character trait in them that I'm like, okay, I can respect it. I ain't gonna fuck with you, but I can respect it, you know, because I've been the villain in people's story too.
Right, I can respect that too. But and that's the thing, I don't care what people think about me or what they portray. I care about what I am to myself.
Yeah, and so how you would feel.
I'm the only one that has to wake up in the morning and look at myself in the mirror, right? I gotta look at myself in the eye, and I gotta see who I am, who I want to be to myself. I don't care what people see me, right? I care how I see you. Well, how I see me. So as long as I see myself correct, and I see myself as a person who does right by people, who's not grimy, who will give the shirt off his back to motherfuckers, then that's all that needs to. What other people think about me, I don't give a shit. You can think I'm the grimiest motherfucker. You can think I'm the meanest. You can think I'm the softest. I don't care. Yeah. You know what I mean? Handle your business. Yeah. But I have to look at myself in the mirror.
Yeah. So if you let a trespass go, I would assume that you would probably feel like I'm a chump because I let that go.
Right. No. That's if I let a trespass go, I feel like this motherfucker is getting over. Like, this motherfucker is, ha, you did this shit. And I'm like, ha, no, I didn't. I didn't forget. You thought I forgot, but motherfucker, what?
But that's still a battle within yourself, no?
Do you think that's striking on ego or something?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's still a battle within you. Anke, you're saying, well, you got away with it, but you're the one feeling like he got away with it. So it's still your internal battle.
Yeah, I feel like that for like about 5 minutes, forget about it until I see the motherfucker again. Then I'm like, oh, okay.
That is like the master of disassociation that you're describing right now. And you have had, you said since you were little with your little sisters, and then, just things that transpired throughout the course of life.
The whole damn time.
You have mastered disassociation.
Yeah, well, it is what it is, but I didn't mean for this to be a therapy session or whatnot, but it's just like we're talking about it, and I'm like, so until I see something wrong, until I see something that it damages my life the way I'm living, then I see no need to change. You know what I mean? Because just like I quit smoking. I used to smoke Newports and shit.
You're being deceived because you just don't know how much peace there is in it. And I'm not, dude, I used to be a monster too. I'm just bragging on it. I can't believe the last 3 years how much I've changed. I'm very happy. My kids are happy. My friends that know me are happy. I don't even know what's happening. Some are like, what is happening? But I'm at peace.
You know what? Right. I challenge you to think of someone that you can't forgive.
That's what I'm saying.
And I challenge you to actually sit with those emotions.
Hell no.
Why not?
Hell no.
Why not?
I'm cool.
Right.
Just sit with them. No. Just see what it teaches.
The emotions?
Yeah, just see what it teaches you about yourself. I learned the most about myself when I sat with the shit that I didn't want to think about, and then that's when I learned who I really am.
I could sit with the emotions all day and all day, all night. Like, I've done it before. Like when my brother Rico was killed, right? Like, I know who did it. You know what I'm saying? And I just leave it. But I sat with it for a while. You know what I mean? And I still sit with it. Right? I still feel it because it was a traumatic loss. Yeah, it was a loss of a brother who I grew up with. You know what I mean? He was he wasn't my blood brother, but we grew up together. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We were at each other's house all the time or whatever. So that was like a main traumatic loss for me. And I've sat with that all day. And would I ever forgive the motherfuckers that did it?
Yeah, I was literally just about to ask you that because
no way. That's probably like the deepest.
It is the deepest.
That's probably the deepest.
It's the most ignorant thing you could even think in a regular flesh head. Like, I'm not gonna forgive the motherfucker that killed my brother, or whatever else. But you know what peace you land in when you pray for that fool forgive me? It's like, look,
nah, I don't want that.
That fool's broken, or whatever he's into, and he made this huge mistake and hurt my people, my family, and all that shit. But you know what? I can't keep eating this if I can't go kill that motherfucker. I'm gonna let it go. God, you deal with him. Yeah. I'm freeing myself of it, and you be freed of it. Yeah, that don't make you a sucker.
But I think you're close. I think you're searching, and I think that seeds are being planted, and things will be revealed to you in the way they need to be revealed to you for you to reach the point.
Them? Which one are we doing?
Both.
Fucking A.
I don't know what you're talking about. I know. But anyways, no, like,
I catch your drift. I catch it.
Like, I don't.
We're tag teaming right now.
All that shit aside, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't hold it. Like, I think about my brother all the time, but I don't hold on to the anger no more. Right? I'm good. I'm good.
Unless you see him.
I won't see him. But I'm good. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's just what it is. I'm good. Yeah. So, do I miss my brother? Yeah. You know what I mean? Is there anything I can do about it now? No. Yeah. But I'm good.
Man,
You know what I mean? And I know for a fact that in my heart that I'll see my brother again. And that's what keeps me pushing. Like, I know no matter where he is, no matter what you believe in, whether you believe in nothingness, whether you believe in heaven, whether you're going to hell, whether you believe in energy, like, no matter what, we all gonna be wherever they're at. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if whatever your religion is, like, that, you're gonna be wherever your people are. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I know I'm gonna see him again one day. And like I said, I've said it before, we're gonna be dead a lot longer than we're alive. And that's one of the things that I think of. So I try to enjoy my life. I don't let the fucking the bullshit get to me. But I gotta have revenge. Yeah, I need that shit.
You know, the Bible does talk about eye for an eye.
Yeah, but nah, man. If it's an eye, I want your whole head.
Like, you know what? That's a little excessive.
Yeah,
especially
I know,
but you know, if you came up taking heads, this is where you gotta sit down one day and be like, yo.
Or in your situation, you feel like your head was took, so now you got to get back everybody's.
So get to getting or get to knocking it off. That's where I'm at with it.
That's cool therapy session, man. I appreciate it. I feel rejuvenated.
I know how backwards it seems for like even me, like to say these things that are like opposite of how we came up, but I'm at peace for the first time in my life. I was challenged with the worst shit in my life 3 years ago. I messed around with the church. I was like, yo. And I was in there, you know, my feet gonna catch fire or whatever. Yeah. I don't know what the fuck happened, but all of a sudden I'm capable of changing my mind. And in that came peace.
Yeah, isn't it?
And now I'm not finna wake up and kill you over I had a bad day or a bad night's sleep or whatever happened yesterday, which is crazy to me. But I'm very grateful. And it's really weird to say it, but fuck it, I'm gonna say it.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Isn't the peace a trip?
Proud of you.
I'm almost proud of you. You're getting there. We're gonna be proud of you in a minute, man.
No, we are proud of you because you have that curiosity, you have that belief, you know. So
you know what's there somewhere.
I'm a student of many things. I have a lot of weird beliefs that it probably you trip out on, but I mean, like I studied the Anunnaki, right?
Oh my!
So I
like Billy Carson.
So,
you listen to him?
I love Billy Carson, man. That's
and the guy with the fish.
Now, do I believe that? But I like the concept. I like the stories. You know what I mean? So
this should be a distraction from the thing we're saying. That's a distraction.
No. But,
I just seen a video too of like be careful of the false prophets, and they put Billy Carson up there on there, but.
Yeah, but who's
he
to
ties
say...
in all the Dead Sea Scrolls and the tablets. He ties in Ethiopian Bible, and I'm like, damn. So I'm like trying to differentiate.
Who's to say?
I be praying for discernment.
Hearing the things that are throwing me off. Like if you say Amen, it's really saying you're praying to Amen. I'm like, whoa, hold on a minute. Like, don't fuck my shit. Don't fuck my shit up now.
But who's to say Christianity isn't the false prophet?
No, I agree.
Right. Whatever one's working for you, that's
so,
I'm at with
I mean,
you know
more people have been killed over Christianity than any other religion in the world.
This is my thing. What's the religion they attack the most?
Christianity.
Why? Well, if it ain't true, why?
I mean, not the only the one they probably attack the most is probably Judaism.
Well, no. What studies show Christianity's overall Christians have been persecuted the most. It's Christianity that gets talked about the most. Everyone's against it. Statistically speaking.
Yeah, but
so
why,
for me,
though? Maybe they want you to tap into the power.
That's my point. You know, what is it? You know, you to anger an honest person, tell them a lie, right?
For real.
So if Christianity is the one that's if it was a lie, there would be no need to attack it as much as they do. Unless you don't want people to learn it.
Or could it be that Christianity was responsible for the deaths of other religions and the persecution of other religions that they've
definitely 100%.
You know what I mean?
No, well, no.
People hate what was persecuted against because, like, as our people, the Mayans, we were enslaved and we were murdered in the name of Christianity, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, our people, you know what I mean? If we lived back then, if we were Aztecs and Mayans, we would think, man, the death to Christianity because they killed our people. They killed the natives, your people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's true, but it's never been an argument that there's been other religions and there's been other practices and ways of life. The things that were also going on at that time with what we were doing to each other, the ritualistic aspects of what was going on, we were giving homage to a lot of gods that were also creating and doing a lot of foul things. We were sacrificing children to these gods. So biblically, he says that he came to show people, I am the God of gods. Yes, there's all these gods, but I am the God of gods. And what you guys are doing, these practices, all these things are wrong. Yeah. So a lot of people get on God in Christianity because he burned down cities and he was like, go kill all the sons and go, or, you know, whatever. He ordered all these things, right? In the Old Testament, he talks about how, yeah, at that point he was a God that was condemning. He was a God that was giving you consequences. He said, turn to me and turn away from these rituals that are leading you guys astray while you guys are being deceived, or you guys are going to see who the God of all gods is. And because no one did, he showed them.
But the Mayans had no idea of God. Where did they get their idea of God from? So if the Mayans, they worship the only way they can. But when God did come to them in the form of Christianity, they were enslaved, they were raped, they were killed, they were pillaged. So in that sense, where's the logic? Like, where is their God? Where's the mercy? Where's America?
Have you ever studied the pyramids of Chihuahua?
Yeah. Well, lightweight. I'm not an expert by any means.
And how they said that they got there?
Well,
that a man showed up on a boat and taught them the way of life and taught them how to build all that and all that stuff.
Yes.
So I think what was happening, if we look at it in a chronological order, a lot of events were happening around the world around the same time.
Right.
And Christianity was actually started in Ethiopia.
Yeah.
It's not a white man's religion, which is a big misconception. Right. This has been a religion in Africa since the beginning of time. They have tablets dating back longer than other religions and other scriptures.
Well, you mean so that white guy hanging up on my grandma's mantle?
Definitely not him.
Blue eyes.
Definitely not him.
That ain't Jesus.
No, they describe
Jesus is not a biker from the 70s.
Biblically, he's described as having bronze skin and wool hair.
Right.
Who got bronze skin and wool hair?
Right. That wasn't Jesus though. They were describing God as having bronze skin and wool hair.
In Christianity, we believe that God, right, came down as his son in the flesh.
Right.
We believe in the Holy Trinity.
But how can he
God,
have
Jesus,
bronze
and the Holy Spirit?
Skin and wool hair when he was a child?
Because God is Jesus and Jesus is God.
Yes.
They are one of one. And he is the Holy Spirit.
Big guy's in a little guy.
And he is in all of us.
So you're telling me he was born with white hair and brown skin?
No,
he's not a biker.
No.
It's not like the pictures we all have.
That God, his energy, came down in the flesh in the form of Jesus Christ.
Right, his energy, yes.
Yes, and that who they're describing, Jesus Christ, right, is God. That God is Jesus. Jesus is God.
Right, I get
They're
that.
all the Holy Spirit. So when they describe him as the bronze skin, woolly hair, they're describing him of what he looked like in the flesh, not the spirit.
Yeah.
Right.
Because if you look like the pictures we see today, they'd have been killed that fool.
No, and what we see today, that is a construct of wanting to utilize religion, just like what they do with the schools. They try to infiltrate and reframe. That's why, I have my issues too. Why would you take certain books out of the Bible? Why'd you take, the book of Enoch out of the Bible? You know what I mean? Yeah. That's why I think the most accurate Bible to probably study would be the Ethiopian Bible, because they have all the books that the Catholic Church never took out. Now the Catholic Church teamed up with the government and all some funny shit started happening. You know what I mean? That's where definitely they weaponized religion. But I would say it was Catholicism. I wouldn't say it was Christianity.
Just real quick, I studied a lot of history.
Yeah.
I studied a lot of religion.
You know a lot about it. It's crazy. Yeah.
So I used to be a Bible study teacher and all that stuff. Right? Mm-hmm. So when I studied more of it, what I learned was Mesoamerican religious, whether you're talking about Mayans, Incas, any of them, and Christianity, all European. The only one that didn't seem like it was derived from the same source was Asiatic. Taoism and all.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But it all comes from Kush. The stories that were derived in the teachings in Africa, were transferred. Essentially, if you look at the structure, the social structure of all Mesoamerica, and you look at the Greeks and Romans who were taught in the same schools at Kush, if you look at the statues, the Incan statues with the helmets and the braids, that is Kush. They're all the same thing. So if, to your argument, if the Spaniards came over here and did it for Christianity, and the Incans and the Mayans were all established from the same source, which everything tells us that they were just fighting each other.
Yeah, right.
Well, religion to me was, and this is just my opinion, was built on greed, right? So it was a way to control people to profit. right? Because if you tell somebody to believe a certain way and to honor your master and obey the laws and the laws of the land and stuff, then that's your way to control people, right?
Definitely.
God is telling you, hey, this book right here is telling you you better listen, or you going to hell. And to me personally, like, I don't believe in the devil, right? Like, I believe in evil.
Crazy, 'cause that's just them shitty thoughts.
I believe in evil. I believe in the evil men do. I believe that people can be evil, but I don't believe in demons, and I don't believe in the devil. I believe the devil is a fairy tale that was told to people to scare people into submission.
Yeah.
And I believe if you're gonna do, like, it's a form of a non-accountability, right? Because you can always say, well, the devil made me do it. No.
Yeah, it's
bitch,
scapegoat.
your mind, you did that,
Yeah.
right? Like, the devil didn't make you do shit. Because if the devil made you do it, then, I mean, how come God didn't make you,
it doesn't work that way. You got free will, but
if we have free will, then the devil can't make us do
dude ain't
shit.
red with a pitchfork.
Not necessarily. If you choose him, yeah. I can tell you right now, I know demons are real. I see
all
them.
this fool could come at you as is a lie in your own head, thinking you told yourself it. That's it. So once you know that, you have some control in yourself.
But that contradicts it, right? So do we have free will, or do we pray to God to answer our prayers? Because
No,
if
but
we
I know
have,
it depends.
if we have,
When I pray to
if
God, I
we
feel
have
like it's
free
already
will,
happened.
If we have free will, then we don't need to pray to God to answer our prayers, because He already gave us everything we need, everything that we can ever have,
which is
we
the
already
Holy
have.
Spirit in you.
Right. So then why do we pray to God and ask for healing? Why do we pray to ask for strength? We already have the strength.
We
were
do.
born with that strength. So
We
there's
do.
Oh, I
nothing
say thank you.
necessary.
But we ask for it because we do things that are not of Him. You are wanting vengeance.
Right.
That's not of God.
You are, but the devil don't make you do it. You have free
devil
will.
But the devil uses your thought of you, and this is what he warns, that we believe that we idolize ourselves. So the devil, he's a master of deceit.
Yep.
In the Bible, he came as a beautiful angel. He didn't come as a horn-filled red animal that you gotta fear. Nah, he came in the form of deceit, and he gives blessings. I mean, you see it in the music industry right now. In like that's
Damn
blessings.
it, I need a blessing.
You know,
From him.
but hey, but
me.
that's a blessing in the flesh, right? You said it yourself. Eternity is a long time. That's
Right.
where I'm trying to head to, you know.
Right.
But that's what he will do. He will corrupt our own thoughts. He will plant these seeds of you need to have vengeance, or you need to lust, or you need to lie, or you need, and you're justified in doing so because you're the maker of your own world. That is the lie he wants us to believe, rather than the Holy Spirit is in me. I am made in God's image, and God would not approve of me doing this because God is a forgiving God.
So,
God is a merciful God. God is a gracious God, and He is that because He gave that to me.
Well, I mean, the thing with the devil is just like it's just a way for people to be like, well, the devil made me do it. I just look, me personally.
You'll know when you know,
and no disrespect to anybody, or no disrespect to any religion, right? Me personally, I don't believe in the devil. I believe it's a bedtime story. I get the stories of the Bible. I understand that, but I just believe like we all like in life. Right, to get through life, man, just be grateful for what you have, be kind to people, you know what I mean, do unto others as you want done to yourself.
You're so close.
And you gonna live there. But I believe like if I'm praying, the power of prayer, right, it's a power of unity, right? It's people thinking and manifesting the same stuff. I don't believe necessarily you have to pray to God, because God, according to the Bible, gave us everything we already need and gave us free will. So He's not going to change the direction, right or wrong, but He already gave it to you. So by you asking for that strength, you already have that strength. You don't need to ask for it, but you're focusing on it.
I wouldn't say
manifesting
you're not asking for the strength, rather than you're.
Well, that's literally what people pray for.
You're acknowledging. Well, some people do definitely,
God,
but
please
like,
give me the strength to get through this day.
Yeah, definitely.
But you already have that strength to get through the day. He already gave it to you.
I say
Yes.
shit
No
like,
need
thank
that.
you for giving me the strength. Like, He already
Yes.
did it. So
Yes.
I'm declaring that on myself.
Yes, or
and
like
I'm taking that power
thanking
on a
you.
different level.
So it's different. There are people that
I feel
only
like I
pray
got
to
it.
God to ask for the abundance and ask for the blessings, right? And then there's people that understand God is always there and the Holy Spirit lives within them, so they know good, bad, whatever trial it is, they're going to get through it, rather than necessarily praying and asking for something. I think the only thing I pray for and ask God for the most part is protection over my family. But at the end of that, I always say,
thank you
but
for
you know
it.
what? Your will is your will. what is meant to be is going to be, and I trust in it that much,
Right.
you know. But when it comes to like demons and the devil, I know 100% it's real.
Right in the eyes of them.
Like I've actually, and this doesn't sound fucking crazy, I had a demonic encounter, full-fledged, seen it with my own eyes. My husband was there. He can attest. And this was not when I was on meth, okay? So none of y'all come for me.
Sure.
I'm about to say, no. How long were you up?
No. This was this was about, babe, when we go on that Yosemite trip? 4 years ago? This was about 4 years ago. I wasn't saved again. I was doing the new age spiritual shit. I was like, okay, I'm very spiritual. I was like, it's about my relationship with God. I'm not gonna, I wasn't going to church. I wasn't reading the word or nothing like that. I was meditating. I was, believing in manifestation and all this other new age spiritual shit, right? And then we went on a camping trip to Yosemite. And now let me tell you, I was feeling good. I felt like, man, I got the answers. I had clarity. I had revelations, like just things were just, coming into fruition and shit, So I believed in it. I was like, okay, then I'm on the right path, like I'm harboring my life. Well, we went on this trip. Second night of the trip, I'm laying in there, and then all of a sudden I'm not laying there. I'm in my parents' room. Like, so I'm seeing my husband, I'm seeing my parents, and then I go and I'm seeing my kids. And I'm seeing my sister who's asleep on the couch, but I'm above them, right? I'm seeing when I'm sleeping, when I see my husband, I'm laying next to him in the flesh.
Out of body experience?
And yes, straight 100%. Yeah. So I'm like, wait, what the heck? So I got scared, and I was like, I snapped myself into it. And when I tell you there is like no time, there is no time in this realm. I can't even describe it. Everything is like, I don't know how to describe it, but I snapped back into my body again. At another out-of-body experience, only this time, right? Like telepathically, I felt that there was a presence there. Yeah. And I felt something calling to me, right? And I was like, hell no, I'm going to reject this, right? So I'm rejecting it telepathically. I'm not talking to this thing. I can't even see this thing, but I can feel this thing.
Yeah.
So then it starts showing me that all my kids are lined up. In Yosemite, we're on mountains, right? It's showing that it's lining all my kids up, and it's making my kids walk off the cliff where we're at. So now I'm fucking petrified. Yeah. And now I'm like, ooh, and I'm trying to call to Jesus, right? I'm trying to call to God because I'm like, no, this is not of him. And I can't. Yeah. I can't say a prayer. I can't call to God. I can't nothing. Snap back into my body. Then again, the third time, and I found it interesting that it came in threes, right? But whatever. The third time I come out of my body, I'm fucking hella scared. It's the same thing. I'm seeing my flesh, seeing my parents, seeing my sister. This time I go to my sister and I'm like, there's something in this house and you have to pray because it's not letting me pray.
Get up out of here. Yeah.
She starts saying, Our Padre Nuestro. My sister don't speak Spanish, okay? Wow. She starts saying, Our Padre Nuestro. And she's like praying and she's seeing that I'm genuinely scared. And I have a thing for cats, right? Black cats. I don't know. I just have a thing for them. Well, whatever this thing was, it sent me the black cat. And I could tell it would use fear to try to get me to like invite it in. Then it used just first showing me that I could have this out-of-body experience, right? It made it look glamorous, but I rejected it. Then it tried to scare me with my kids and I rejected it. And then it tried to use like that connection that I have with the cat. So the cat came up to me and I automatically knew. I was like, no, this is of the demon. And instinctually, something in me, I think it was the Holy Spirit or something saving me in that spiritual realm. I grabbed the cat and I snap its fucking neck. And in that second that I snapped the cat's neck, the demon flashed his face at me. And it was indigenous. It was an indigenous demon. And it snarled at me, bro. I'll never forget that shit. Wow. And I snapped back into my body. I woke my husband up. I was fucking pale. I was like, this is the craziest shit that ever happened to me. I don't know. So then I'm like, I got to run and check on the kids because it showed me that it was going to walk the kids off of the cliff. So I'm running. My sister's asleep in the living room. I go to my sister, Alyssa, literally the craziest shit. Something is in this house. It's demonic. I can't pray because at this point I still couldn't pray. I couldn't pray.
She knew too or no?
She fucking started praying Our Padre Nuestro in Spanish. And then I went and I checked in on the kids. And as soon as my sister started praying in Spanish, when that was literally what I had just seen, I was like, oh my God, this shit's real. Right. I was fucked up off of that for like a month. Like I told my parents, I was like, I can't, like this is the most craziest shit I've ever, dude, it changed and transformed me, but I needed to see, one, that I was turning so far away from God, and I was being deceived of the world. I was being deceived of New Age spiritualism, believing that I'm my own God, believing that I'm manifesting and I'm doing this. I needed that scare for me to, okay, hold up.
Y'all, you don't even know what he's saying is an attack against us.
Like,
he's being used on his plane.
No.
Hold on. I hate to do this. Nobody. I need 2 minutes. Can I step away for guys? I'm sorry. I got something going on fast. Sorry, guys.
No, go ahead.
Anyways, no. So how was the cat?
No, it wasn't it was just whatever it was showing me. It wasn't like necessarily a real cat. It was just this out of body experience where it showed me this cat that looked really real that wasn't necessarily there. It was like in a whole nother realm. Shit. And time, there was no time in this realm. Everything was like, what is time? Time is an illusion. Time is nothing, And it was the most profound, I think, experience that I've ever had that solidified to me. Demons are definitely real. And the deceit that they will do to deceive you. Like, it showed me. It showed me how it wanted to be like, look, you're out of body. Look, you can see everything. Look, like it's great. And it wasn't talking to me per se. It was telling me telepathically, like, I'm here, I'm your friend, like I want to be with you. That's what it was. I ended up learning later on that demons can't actually come into your life unless you give them permission. You got to invite them in. You got to turn away from God and say, yeah, whatever.
But see, now, speaking about that, like I've tried, like in my search for religion, like I've used the Ouija board. Right, I've done the fucking Bloody Mary shit. I've done the fucking light as a board, stiff as a board, light as a feather. Like in all that shit, I tried to, because I don't believe in something until I see it. So I want to see it. And none of that, nothing ever came to fruition. Right?
I mean, I don't. Yeah.
I mean, I've tried it just because I was like, man, let me see what this is about. But I mean, everything that I've seen has been fake. Now I have seen spirits. I've talked about it on this podcast before. My grandma's house. My cousin is a ghost hunter or a ghost detective or whatever you want to call it. He goes and films haunted places and stuff and sees stuff. And I asked him like, hey, what's the most haunted place you've ever been to? He was like, you want to know the truth? I said, yeah. He said, grandma's house. I was like, no, for real. He was like, no, seriously, grandma's house. And he's been to, the Winchester Mansion. He's been through San Diego, old downtown San Diego, all that shit, like all the haunted places. And, thinking back and going through it, like my grandma's house was really haunted because everybody has seen something there. Everyone, all the kids, all the grandkids, all the parents, all the aunts, uncles, everybody has seen. It got so bad that they named their ghost Florinda. Right, and it followed them and shit. Yeah. So I believe in that. I believe there's spirits. I believe in energy. But where was I going?
Well, you said that you done the Ouija boards. Because you never physically.
So I've done the Ouija boards and shit, right? And none of that, like, because they're like, oh, if you do that, you're gonna invite the demons.
Fucking
demons came into my life.
I think when it is I think all that stuff is a way to sensationalize demons and give them like a physical form, I would say. But what I've learned throughout this thing, are there demons that can present themselves in the way that they did with me? Yes. At that time, I had a lot of people that do Reiki, a lot of tarot cards and all that stuff. During that time, I cannot tell you the amount of people that were reaching out to me trying to, let me read your cards, come do Reiki, come do this.
I don't believe in that.
Oh, bro.
I'll
tell you right now, I think that they felt
shit.
the Holy Spirit in me, and that's what they feed off of. And I think that they were trying to be energy suckers type of shit.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. And then that situation happened, and I realized, oh no, I've strayed way too far from God. It's what brought me back to God fully, 100%, only Him, Jesus Christ, in His name, like 1,000%. Right. But I later on in my growth, in my walk with Him, I realized that the demons, although yes, can be in the form of what I experienced or in the evil things that are sensationalized on TV. It can be that, but demons are attachments in anything that turns you away from God and what God calls you to do. Right. That's what the demons are. Demons are the deceit. Demons are, in no disrespect, the vengeance. Demons are the lying. Demons are the lust. Demons are anything that is not of God. Yeah. that is their playhouse. That is where they thrive.
I never spoke this way or thought this way.
You know, and they're not gonna like me. They came and they fucking scared me. It ain't always like that. They gonna let you be. Yeah. They don't got no reason to come for you and scare you when you are already doing what they want you to do, which is not believing in God.
But I've talked to psychics. I've done the tarot cards. I don't believe in none of that shit. That shit is not true. I mean, all the shit that they've done was a lie. I think it's a money scam. I think people prey on people's
naiveness.
Not even naiveness, right? Because when we think about politics, right, we have this kind of like fantasy like about the president, like they're bigger than life. A motherfucker takes his shit and wipe his ass just like anybody else, right? Yeah. But people have this image that it's like it's so hard to obtain that it's more like a fantasy. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, I'll never be able to be the president. When actually anybody can. You just got to put your mind to it, right? And like, so people have this sensationalism with like spirits and demons and tarot cards. They want to believe like, oh, I could see my future, and I want to see if I can get this job, or if I'm gonna win the lotto. Like, I don't believe in none of that shit. I think it's just a money scheme. That's why I don't believe in demons. I believe that people are their own demons. You're your own demon. I'm my own demon. You know what I mean? And we have the ability to do good or bad. We have the ability to shine light on people or to make people pissed off, right? What do you choose to do out of it, right? That's my whole thinking.
So the free will to choose.
And that goes back to the free will to choose, yeah. Now, like I said, I do believe in a higher power. I do believe in God, right? I believe in God 100%. You can't tell me that he's not there, but like I said, there's many things that happen. But I don't believe in demons. I don't believe in the devil. If to me, in my eyes, and like I said, no disrespect to anybody else that does. I mean, I'm still learning. I'm still open, right? I'm make something make sense to me, and I'll believe it, right? But in my head, man, God is all powerful. He's almighty. He's a creator. He doesn't need somebody to assist him to pick out who's good and who's bad, right? He's all knowing. He's all there. Like he doesn't need someone to test people, right? Because we test ourselves daily, right? I test him. He tests me. You know what I mean? We're all gonna test each other. It's not a demon. It's just it's people. You know what I mean? Right. It's just interesting. It's just human nature, right? We're all built with it. Like even if you didn't know anything about God or religion, like the Aztecs, right? Didn't know anything about God, right? But they knew better than to fucking get up and slap somebody in the fucking face for no reason, right?
That's primal because you get your ass fucked up. But
right, exactly. But you know right from wrong, right?
Yeah.
Now they believe sacrificing was to their gods, right? But that was their form of religion. But even then they knew, like, you treat someone with respect, you're gonna get respect. You know, don't start no shit, won't be no shit. And that's the whole thing with religion and people and my beliefs is like, man, I'm going to treat you with respect because I want to be treated with respect. But you get out of line with me, I'm going to get out of line with you 10 times
harder. But none of that, so if you're living godly, right? If you're like, what would Jesus do? None of that shit really matter.
Yeah, well, I will say, God doesn't instruct us to be pushovers. He doesn't instruct us to be doormats. And I think sometimes people think that to be a Christian means you got to always be, I don't know, not doing nothing. But we got to remember, Jesus was flipping tables.
Right.
You know, he was getting on people's necks. Still gotta deal with people. So there's going to be certain situations where, if someone were to come up in here and punch me in my face, you guys are about to see me get down. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the nature. That's primal, you know? So it's just picking and choosing your battles and your convictions internally. Right? Is God calling you to go about this situation in a different way? Right. Or is this situation requiring for you to show up and show out?
And like you said, you're not a doormat because even if maybe you're feeling like myself feel or possibly how you're feeling, right? Like, okay, I'm a little bit more in touch with spirituality, my Holy Spirit, like just all this wonderful shit that's made these huge changes that I couldn't hard explain, man, until you go through it. And I hope that when you come to Jesus' moment, it ain't over no fucking travesty or no shit. It's just because you got there. But we still have to deal with the people out there walking that are being deceived daily by those thoughts of the devil. And the devil is just a bad thought, man, trying to tell you ruin your life, ruin your kids' life, ruin your future.
I've already come to my
We got to deal with them people every day and regular life still.
Yeah.
So when I walk outside, it's not that God ain't like protect me. He will die today. It could be still some whack retard motherfucker been in that corner that just told some whack shit. Here he comes. So I still got to deal with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm not coming no more to come blow you apart.
Come to
shit.
Jesus moment already.
Yeah.
And I told you when I was shot and I was laying there and I was like, man, thank you. Like it wasn't just to God. It was thank you to everything.
Yeah.
And I was grateful. And once I became grateful, it did. It changed a lot. I was just grateful to everything. But I still didn't forget about the motherfuckers that did me dirty. So fuck you. You know what I mean? But I was just grateful.
So do you think you would come to a peaceful place if you did let it go? If you had if you let go of the G in us that won't let shit go and let it go, do you think you'd find peace in that? Because that's a fucking major challenge.
I don't know because
and normally I would never do that. But that's what I've experienced the last couple and a half years.
I think a good question to ask yourself is do you want to live in God's image? However God shows you He is, whatever you know of God, your relationship with Him that you're catering, religion out of it, right? Mm-hmm. However God speaks to you, are you honoring who He is and what He's done for you in your life? And that not even for you to answer with me, like you to.
But to answer that though, I want to live the best life that I can live from myself and my family. I want to be the best person that I can be overall, and it doesn't necessarily have to be for God. It just means the best person I can be to show motherfuckers or not to show, but to treat people how I would want to be treated, right? Yeah. I want to be the one person to look myself in the eye and be like, okay, I respect myself. Yeah. Like I don't need the respect from anybody else but me. But now, as far as God goes, like I don't, in my eyes, I don't think God sees it as he's right or wrong or he's living in my as best he can up to me in my image or whatever. In the way I see it is like God knows what's in my heart, right? He knows what's in my mind. He knows that my heart is good. You know what I mean? Essentially, but He knows like, man, hey, he ain't gonna let shit. He ain't gonna let shit slide, right? Yeah. So in my view, like you know what I mean, like He knows what's in my heart. He knows that I don't wish evil on nobody. You know what I mean? But I'll dish it out. Like, you know what I mean? If you give it, I'll dish it. Like I said, don't start no shit, won't be no shit.
Well, this podcast went to church, didn't it?
This shit went to church. but I mean, this is what we brought it here for. You know what I mean? So that's just how I see it. You know what I mean? Now, when I'm still searching. I'm still learning religion. I'm a student of religion. I like religious history. Yeah. I like religious stories. I like to know where religions came from. But once I find someplace, you know what I mean? Like I said, most likely I'll probably be a Muslim.
You enjoy those things for the information?
I like it for the information, but for the soul searching also, right?
You found it yet? In these studies?
In none of them. Like I said, I've been to a Buddhist temple. There's a Buddhist. I grew up right next to a Buddhist temple down the street from my house, West Side Stockton. There's a Buddhist temple right there at Lewis Park. Man,
wow.
Hey, they don't do
Start
that,
levitating.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what it is, you know what I mean. Like, that's cool. But I haven't seen anything that just convinces me that one religion is right from the other. If it was up to me, I would take pieces from every little religion, everything that made sense, put them all in one, and that's what I would believe in. That's what I can get behind that.
So essentially, relationship.
Yeah, basically. So, but I'm not the one to put religions together. But I know that some shit in this Bible don't make sense. Some shit in the Quran don't make sense. Some shit that these Buddhist monks said don't make sense.
And there's truth in all of them.
There's truth in every single one, but they just don't make sense to me, right? Yeah. Personally, not saying, like I said, not to disrespect anyone's religion. You know what I mean? Like I said, I respect everyone's. I will pray in every religion and every language that I'm around because out of respect for them. Doesn't mean I believe everything, but I will respect the person.
I hear you.
You know what I mean? Because I can pray to Jesus, I can pray to Allah, I can pray to Buddha. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter because all those people to me are God. All the higher power. You just call it something different. Yeah. You know what I mean? You call them Jesus.
But at some point, Christianity hits you to a point where you're not letting it go. You believe it's in you, right?
Yeah.
Happened to me too. Maybe it just ain't happened to you.
Yeah.
Yet,
no. I know. I remember actually being where you're at. And focusing on the relationship.
I haven't graduated yet.
Huh?
I haven't graduated yet.
There's you're drinking the milk of the word. You know, you're taking the baby
he's
steps.
not ready for the meat yet.
You're there.
Oh,
you ain't ready for the meat yet, you know? But we're not. We have to go through this. You're going through the curiosity. You're going through the soul searching. You're going through finding the truth. That's why I'm confident that you're on the path that you're supposed to be on. Because I remember being right where you're at, you know? Now, I'm not saying that I'm right in my religion or what I believe is the most right.
Right.
Logically, with what I studied and that same curiosity and hunger that I had in you led me to what I believe now. Yeah. Because I dove deep into it. I was like, okay, hold up. Now I'm big on, I can't blindly follow something. Now I got to hear the opposite end of that. Now I gotta study on why you believe what you believe and why you came to that conclusion. You know,
faith is a faith issue.
Yeah, and for everybody's walk of life is different, right?
Right.
And I think what you said is true. There's truth in everything, and we are all essentially worshiping the same God using different names,
right,
and different religions and different forms and different ways. Yeah. There's all these things that make it complicated. But if you talk to everybody and their religion and what they believe, for the most part, we're all describing the same being.
Right. Because even the Anunnaki believe that. So our you know, the people here when the Anunnaki were here believed they were gods, but even the Anunnaki had a higher power.
Higher God, yes.
Right. So if you go that route, there always leads back to that
Fuckers
one.
Want our water
right?
and gold.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, with all that being said, so if there's a message that you have to anybody, right? Yeah. What would your main message be, like, that you want to portray in your everyday life, in your podcast or whatever? What is that like? Just one message, if you can portray.
I would definitely tell people that God should be at the forefront of everything in your life. Yourself, your marriage, your connections. And I would say that the best way that you can show up in life is to be authentically who you are and where you're at in your life. You know, there is no right or wrong way to be. I mean, I guess there is. See, this is where my brain goes down a whole bunch of little avenues. But so long as you are just being authentically yourself, right? In search for being greater in every way that you can be, I think that you're doing something right. I'm really against stagnancy, unless you're learning something in that stagnancy. But I would tell people to keep pushing for better. Break those cycles, break the generational cycles, sit with the traumas, challenge yourself and your own mental fortitude to do the things that you cannot do. Because that's, in those challenges, is who you find who you are.
For real. For real. Yeah, I'm not bad. You know I love you. I'm not bashing you. I was you. No. I was worse than you. I spent 30 years going, I don't want to hear that shit. Fuck that. Ain't no God let no kid get raped. This boy, like, my cousin just 2 years ago was like, man, I can't believe you talking about the Bible or God a little bit with us over here. We were scared to death to mention it to you because you know how you are. I'm like, oh, dude, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I did that to y'all. Yeah. No, we're good now. Fire it out. It's all good. I'm going to help you with your path to health.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, man, we're gonna end it, man. We've been here for
man, thank you. Sorry, we could go on all day.
I know we could. We could do
therapizing this fucker, whatever you say.
So shout out your podcast real quick.
So it's For the Souls podcast. I'm available on all podcast platforms, video version, YouTube. You can follow that podcast there. I also do like little videos of just whatever pops into my mind for the day. So it's not always
inspirational shit.
Just podcasting. Yeah. And then my personal Instagram page, ICAYME _ if you just want to see a little bit more of my funny, my goofy side. My name. Oh. So my name's Ayme. Amy, but it's spelled different. It's AYME. So everyone's always like, oh, you spell Amy very different. But yeah. All right, so that's where you guys can find me.
I mean, I know this was a long one. But I'd love to have you back so we can continue the conversation.
Put us on your show.
Yes, maybe, you guys can. Let's. We'll go on I actually have a third mic too, so we could do it all at the same time.
You could borrow one of ours too.
There we go.
It doesn't matter.
What?
No, ain't nobody sitting on
I didn't know y'all get down like that.
No. I don't know what this dude talking about, but we don't get down like that, man.
He's in a wheelchair. He's in a wheelchair. Was like, what do you do for Christmas? Just put like your hand on Santa's lap, or?
No, but yeah, we would definitely come because I mean, and we'll see where, you know what I mean, where my path goes. You know, later on down the line.
I have high hopes. Can't wait to go home and say a prayer for you today.
Oh man,
I'll do it in a minute.
Look, and that's one thing though. I pray for everybody, right? I pray to God. That's one thing. The power of prayer, but. My prayers are not like for God to do anything, but my prayers are for, like, just make sure everybody's cool. You know, I pray for everybody to be happy in abundance, and I pray that no matter where my people are, man, they're happy that wherever they're at. And it's to God. Like I said, I believe in God, but it's not like, you know, to Jesus or
try to declare it already happened next time, so it happens. Next time you pray, just declare it already happened. Thank you for looking after my kid. Thank you for getting me through that thing. Thank you for making sure everything's good okay today. Just like it already happened.
You know what?
I'm saying it so. Making it be.
I say thank you every night.
Yeah.
And the first thing I say when I open my eyes in the morning, I say thank you every morning.
Oh, that's wonderful. Same.
Period.
What the fuck you are?
God knows your heart.
Because I've, you know, like I said, I woke up one day and I just said thank you.
Oh, look at all the weapons formed to get you just prospering.
I don't know what you're talking about. But anyways, that's my shit. That's your shit. And man.
No, well, thank you guys so much for having me on. It's been
you.
wonderful to have a nice talk.
It was good meeting you. You know what I mean? Yes. And shout out to your husband, man. You know, he sat here.
What's your name, brother? We can't just call you the husband. That's fucked up. Do you do that shit on your podcast?
No, I feel like I always call him Marco. And then I'd be like, wait, people probably don't know who the heck I'm talking about. I'd be like, my husband. So
your husband Marco.
My husband Marco.
Yeah.
Marco.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, Marco.
I didn't even know you said Marco. You put such a twist on it. I'm like, is that Spanish
Marco?
Again?
Yeah.
All right, man. Yeah.
Thank you.
This has been a long one. No Paperwork podcast, man. Like and subscribe. All that
podcast.
shit.
Good.
You know how we do it.
Tune
Your
in.
reputable source.
We don't just do rappers, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We do everybody.
There we
man.
go.
We do Josh, but the church before and everything.
Yeah. Thank you for coming. You know what I mean?
Thank you
Being
very
here
much.
and shit. Until we meet again. Peace
Bye-bye,
out.
guys.